Scott, are you going to be the roast master?
Yes, we're actually in the pre-roast mode.
Okay, could you explain how the roastology is going to work?
Well, the way it was explained to me was that I kind of get to do what I want, which is, in a way, an extra responsibility on me for the success of this game. And I forgot the rest of what I was going to say just then. But we're going to roast Tom, and it's going to be kind of a free format kind of deal with a small sense of organization. So, talking to yourself.
And here's the roastee.
The celebration of his graduation of law school, and I think this is great because
Brisk?
Sure, we can do that too. You had that when you were little. You would enjoy that.
She didn't know what it was. Anyone else not know what a brisk is?
Okay, I think Ken, you were the last one we were expecting, so now we're starting. And we're honoring Tom upon his graduation of law school. And most times people don't get this these sort of accolades unless they're dead, you know, already.
Let's kill him!
Just kidding. In case you don't know me, I'm Scott. Went to college with Tom and have a few stories to tell. And I think as we go around, and you were all kind of asked to reflect upon your memories of Tom.
It's like I'm dead. You're right.
I think we'll kind of start from maybe Carl over, and we'll kind of go in a clockwise fashion. It'll be kind of free form, but I'll kind of guide us as we go on. If you have something to say, raise your hand, stand up. You might want to say who you are.
Scott's a teacher.
Yeah, I'm a teacher. If you persist in interrupting, I'm going to have you sit in the hall.
Okay.
So we'll kind of go around. If you don't have anything to say, that's fine. I completely understand. It's very unnerving to get up in front of a group of people and talk, especially when your backs are people. I will say this. Carla, she got tickets to the Springsteen concert, but she had to make a decision again. And she had to make a decision.
Movie 100 times.
Well, what she told me was that she got seats behind him. Okay, those are the ones available.
So he doesn't sit down.
And she wants to look at his butt, but she heard that he played to the people behind. But I know what her real reasoning was. So let me say this on a personal note. My first recollection of Tom, I met Tom at Shelley's and Carla's when they were living in Diamond Bar. Shelley's my wife now, and. Actually, I have a recollection of Danny too. Tom was laying in the street, kind of inebriated, and Danny was even more inebriated. He was praying to the porcelain god.
Wicker god.
Okay.
Somebody else was praying to the porcelain god.
Shelley's sister was Cher. They were in tandem then, I think so. And they're both underage, which we thought that was.
No, I was underage.
I
was 18.
She was really underage.
Anyway, I thought about this and you know, this degrade someone with a roast, this public humiliation thing. We used to do this. We had a case board in college. We had a big thing on the wall where everybody would write little, we call them pimps or cases, little things, little complaints, or if someone did something stupid, you wanted it to be public knowledge, so you wrote it up on the board. And
someone did something stupid.
And then later we progressed when Tom moved to Bumfuck, or when we were in Mammoth, we would put him in the middle of the jacuzzi and splash water on him. And in a sense, that's what we're doing tonight, Tom. What amazes me that you've agreed to it, because the last time I remember a guy agreeing to public humiliation, I ended up in my underwear tied to a coffee table. So, by you agreeing to this, and in fact, Tom called me to ask me to be the MC for this thing, and so he's obviously a willing participant. I did some research before tonight. I went back into some of the old-time family records, and I looked up the name Watkins, and I found out what the name really meant. And,
watch it, big nose.
I went to the, I don't know, there's an encyclopedia of some kind. And
You're making this up, right?
Watkins in Polish apparently means escaping gas.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Watkins.
Okay. Watch it.
I'll tell you a couple more stories later, but Terry, does anyone over in this area like to share something about Tom?
No.
Okay, Dan?
Can I say something about Scott? No. Well, I'm not given a chance to rebut.
Everyone at the house tonight knows that I can't stand dogs, right? They're dogs tonight.
Why are you pointing at Tracy?
Shelby's dog, Tanaya, really turned me off to dogs, right? But I had an experience with a dog one time at the House of Nine. I got to take my shoes off to show you what I mean, because I'm going to do something that Tom did. I never thought that anybody would ever do this again, but I'm going to do it right now to show you how silly it is. We had a talent show one time, and Tom was a dog. This is how he did it. Yeah, someone give me a bathroom rug. It's got to be a hairy. Tom, tell it. It's got to be a filthy, hairy rug.
I clean it with Tom. These things like roll over.
In any case, that's my fondest memory of Tom.
Terry's hair all over it.
Well, did anybody else have anything in you know, it's a shame Gary Lott's not here because I think he could tell us a few stories about...
He doesn't remember.
Yeah. One time, Tom took out a guy for his 21st birthday. And,
I wasn't alone.
Yeah, but he ended up in your car, and you found beans and things in Tom's car for months.
Between the seats.
Anyway,
Right between the seats.
It's not our fault you made right turns. We didn't ask you to make right turns.
In the summer, it still smells in that car.
Of course, there were 3 people in the front on the way over there and 2 people in the front on the back. Brian Eels laying across. Who was there?
I was there.
Jeff Grant, Dan Crowley, and myself, and then Brian Eels laying across our laps because no one wanted right in front with Gary Lott.
And no one is helping me.
We're not laughing, that helps.
Shift, keep Gary Lott's head out the window and shift. I'm getting on a freeway and I'm shifting. He goes, ugh! Everybody's laughing but Tom. I had a spoon, taking it out of there with a wooden spoon.
You threw Brian and I out in the middle of San Jose Avenue and we laid in the street and laughed for 15 minutes. We could have been killed.
Tom, then you called his mom to tell me when you'd be coming home.
anyway, well, that leads us to Tom and I being in business together.
Is that what you call it?
Well, let me precede that. I'm going to precede that disaster with another one. For a time, Tom and I were janitors together in Jeff and Shelley's dad's office building. I don't know how we got that job, but we got to clean up other people's trash and scrub the toilets after they had used it and all kinds of things. And there was about 8,000 square feet of building there, probably. And Tom, he liked to vacuum, and we used to get to vacuum this, and there was a big long hall, and one time, after cleaning the bathrooms, I came out to see Tom vacuuming, and he was just going right down the center of the hall with the vacuum, just this one neat section. And I said, Tom, what are you doing? He said, well, this is the only place people walk. I thought, how appropriate for a guy to come along just to leave out those little details. Okay, would anybody in this section kind of go clockwise? Okay. Oh, I'm sure.
I know you all are dying to hear the romantic side of him. I wrote some of them down. But good diplomat. One of the things I remember is some woman in a store or something tried a hat on or something. She says, "Well, how do I look?" And he turns to her and he says, "Well, I have to read it. It's really funny." He says, "You make time stand still." Later on, he comes to me and says, "Things can stop a clock."
I need a beer.
All in the presentation.
Right with my kids. I don't know how many of you know, but I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old. And he's real good at with them, and my oldest one kind of has trouble in school. And he came to Tom one time and he says, "You know, we're studying this medieval history, and I'm just wondering, you know, did these medieval guys fight with battle axes?" And Tom says, "Well, the married ones did." Fighting, you know, you have your romantic spats and stuff.
Romantic spat? Fighting me.
We fight, and he like wants to leave, and I say, "Well, you're nothing but a deserter," and he says, "Well, I'm a refugee." These are just a few of the things that I've experienced with him.
Audience romance.
Romance! Yes. He never forgets that I love flowers. He never forgets that I love cars. Because he mentions them.
Says things like, "I forgot to get you flowers."
I'll be getting you a card tomorrow.
Oh, and I know he can say lots of sweet things, you know. I know that he can say sweet things and do sweet things and be real caressing and stuff because he does that with the dog.
Kevin is a really great dog.
That's all. I'll get really got trouble here.
Anyone else?
Yeah, things aren't improving, are they?
I have a recollection of Tom, speaking of the, well, not romantic as far as...
Like caressing?
At one point, Tom came in and to the office and said, "Gosh, you know, I had to go to the doctor today. I had sex last night and I'm experiencing watering eyes and a palpitating heart, and my ears were ringing." And I said, "Oh, geez, what did the doctor say?" He said, "Well, it's probably the mace." And Tom and I were also partners in real estate, and we had
Shelley, if you know what I'm saying.
Shelley's a great audience.
Good thing you married her.
Gosh, you know, I stand up almost every night in the front of the television. That's great. So these are true stories now.
Real story.
Real story. We were working in the real estate game together, and I'll never forget the look on our broker's face. He called us in and said, "Hey, so, you know, what are you guys up to? You've been here for a couple months. And we had like a formula. You do this, and you'll get this much success." And so we followed the formula. And he said, "So how many phone calls, cold calls have you made?" "Oh, 500. We haven't really gotten a lead or anything out of that. As an example of one of those 500 phone calls, I was talking to this woman about her apartment building.
Delgado.
No, I'll get to that one in a minute. And she said, "Well, how did you get this number?" And she was very concerned that I had gotten her number. I said, "Well, gosh, you know, my boss gave it to me." Something witty like that. But she was very upset that I had her number. She said, "Well, I don't want to talk to you, you know." And so I hung up, being as gracious as I could. And Tom called back about 5 minutes later and said, "We're watching you." And we went down this guy's.
We're all 500 coaches.
He had about 6 apartment buildings. We thought, oh man, this is, our ship has come in. We spent hours with this guy. And
So his dad gave us that one?
No, this was on our own. This guy, I forget his name, but he had his androgynous love slave, Butch, there. Helping him in his decisions. And so we thought, we said, okay, we'll call you tomorrow. We spent, several hours with the guy. And so I called him the next day and I said, well, gosh, last night I got to watching Dave Del Dotto on Channel 13. And he says that I can sell real estate on my own, and so I sent away for his $800 program. And our listing was gone to hell at that point.
Would have cost him about $500, right?
So he really saved a lot of money. Anyway.
After that, Scott, I have so much to say. I originally thought about saying something nice, and then I thought, well, I can't think of anything nice.
The nature of a roast is not to say nice.
Yeah, that's true. But I thought, well, I'll say something nice, and as I said, I can't think of anything nice. Then I thought about your partnership in real estate had a large impact no impact on your lives, but a large impact on my life. I found my future partner in business, so because of that, so that was good for me.
Damn, I'm happy for you.
Thank you, Scott. You're drinking his beer right now, so there are so many things that I'd like to say about Tom. I mean, it runs right up to the fact that he locked the closet door upstairs this evening without the key. Yeah, I didn't lock it. I just closed the door. What? Don't close any doors, all right? Don't be closing any doors until you're sure where the keys are, all right?
What's the lock on your closet?
We're looking.
What are you doing there?
I haven't got a clue where the keys are, but that's not the point. The point is, you don't lock doors in other people's houses.
We don't need a key anymore. Luke kicked it down.
Yeah, that's true. Luke, thank you very much. Luke kicked the door in for us. Very a friend of Tom's. Yeah. Get the hell out of here and open the door.
Open that unlocked door.
Oh, yeah. We can unlock it here. From the inside. See, it's okay to lock it here, but from the other side, when everybody's outside, don't lock it.
Let's go with a lock thing.
Yeah. No, it's kind of a sensitive issue. For you. For me. It doesn't matter to you. I'm the one who has to fix the door. After that, I can't think of anything else to say. For some reason, the lock thing is just kind of grating on my memory because it happened so recently. It's just one in many injustices that I've had to put up with. Jonelle and I are, by the way, responsible for the photographs of Tom going like this, acting like a moron.
No.
My favorite is this. So I will yield to the next person, Scott.
Oh, me?
That was definitely Watkins.
Really? Yeah, it was. Would you like to stop?
Come on, man.
Speaking of photographs.
Roger.
I brought a few.
Incriminating.
These are the ones actually I was taking of someone else, but Tom.
Are these the pictures of the 13-year-old girls?
Yeah. Tom just kind of got in the way. We just wanted to add something. We want you to remember that behind every successful future lies a crazy path. Here's a sampling of some of the events leading to this momentous occasion. Hint, don't run for political office.
Roger, you would have incriminating.
Describe him, Raj. Describe him.
What I'm going to do is just pass them around. This is the one of, it's actually of Carla, but Tom kind of got in the way. It's actually, he's at school, and he gets to keep all these. These are actually pretty good.
What's wrong with this one?
There's nothing wrong with it.
Pants are buttoned and everything.
Yeah, it was fully clothed.
And when the picture gets around to you, if you want to just call out anything. I don't have anything crazy or funny to say like some of the other people. Tom skiing. Notice the form.
You couldn't do a left turn, I remember that. I can do a right turn.
Snowplow.
Tom coaching. This is 2-ball indoor soccer.
You got thrown out of that because I had
I remember that, yeah, we had a fight outside. mild-mannered Tom. Big fight outside. Big fight. The big
Volleyball?
When he kicked him in the face, I threw him on the ground. I stomped on his head.
Tom was always good at organizing things, and he usually did it by raising his arm. Another party beaching. My wiping you out.
It's like we're being
That's
inducted
okay.
to something.
Yeah, it was during Polyview, and you had the big ball.
That was when your head was really big.
Yeah, this is day at the beach. This is day at my wiping you out here. And if I'm boring, you can keep me out. This is Tom, and you guys can figure out what he's doing.
Sure.
One fine day up at Mammoth. Tom was always good at giving advice. No matter.
We're never good at following.
Yeah, what he had to drink.
Roger, try it again. Try
Oh,
it.
okay.
Doing this
Can
right.
you see that?
Yeah, there we go.
Tom's favorite position. Gearing up for his favorite position.
Did you see these, Rob? See wallowing?
Yeah.
This is one of the talent shows.
Tim's bachelor party.
All right. This one's in here because this is where Tom almost lost his life. I'll let him talk about that.
Yeah, no, lay him on the
I should have been
floor.
driving.
Lay him on the floor and do it.
Yeah, Roger took over driving the bus. We were going sideways at 50 miles an hour.
See that one?
Yeah.
And Tom is the only one that I know who came within 5 seconds of beating the fox.
Lay him in the same place each time. There you
Yeah,
go.
but you were drinking the well at the bottom of the cup, and you were
right.
drinking the full cup.
What?
Yes.
And then he matured and bought a
Your cup was
home.
turned upside down. Yeah.
And here's my favorite picture.
Lay it on the floor.
Can you see it there?
Yeah. If you put it in the same spot each time, I can focus in. It's focused.
That's all.
All right.
Anyway, we haven't seen much of you in a while. Pay attention. Oh, sorry. You haven't seen much of us in a while. That's because you've been studying for school and you're all studying,
You got married, Steve.
all that crap. Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the collective all your friends. And Kathleen says that you're gonna see us more after you've taken the big test and all of this happening. That's what you think. But we've been avoiding you. We've been avoiding you for one reason, is that we have our limits. It's not because of your obnoxious level, or because you're boisterous and have a questionable sense of humor. We're able to, we could overlook that. It's like we're all idiots too. So.
I have that on tape.
It's because of 3 words. 3 words that we all fear. We don't want to hear it discussed. We don't want to hear it referenced or generalized. 3 words. Stupider versus stupidest. We looked it up. It's not even in the dictionary. Stupider or stupidest.
So Tom, after Steve told me about your penchant for stupider versus stupidest,
Who is the stupidest? The stupider, the stupidest, or the stupidest, the stupider?
just one question. Which was more stupid? Deciding to go to law school,
Continuing.
taking the bar and probably failing, or deciding to become a mouthpiece, a shyster, an ambulance chaser, in other words, an attorney in the first place.
Those are the dictionary.
And it is more stupid than most stupid.
Does anyone else over there have something to add? Is anybody else?
I can't
Magic,
believe
come
that
on.
there's no other roaster.
Well, I have a couple more things to say. Oh,
Tim,
okay.
don't you have something to say? Tim has something to say.
I do. And mine comes with a prop, too.
A prop.
Yeah, well, it kind of ties into the punchline. Should I open this? In a minute. Do I have to look at the card? You can look at the card. I always hated your mom goes, look at the card.
Okay. I worked with Tom when he started this law school thing. And it was kind of interesting working with Tom. We were in a large open building with cubicles that were about head height. And everybody worked really diligently except our aisle. We were always laughing and busting up, and everybody came by and gave us dirty looks all day long. And he was the reason. And when he started law school, he came back and started telling me the story about his first introductory class, about how the professor was giving him a lecture on how rigorous law school was, how your wife had to be understanding or your girlfriend had to be understanding, how your children, you wouldn't see them for 4 years, and if you had any pets, you weren't going to be able to take care of them. And I guess Tom kind of got a little chuckle out of this and laughed in the class. So the professor asked him what he'd done to prepare for law school. And what did you tell him, Tom?
I told him I flushed all my goldfish. Lucky I remember that.
Okay, unless anyone else has something to say, I'll just add a couple more things.
Tim has something to say. You do, don't you, Tim?
Tim?
You told me you did.
I've got some stuff if somebody would like to take the camera.
Oh, you want to be on camera, Jeff?
I don't want to be left out.
I'll do it.
Right away, how do I do this, Jeff? It says green, is that good?
There's about 100 of those pictures somewhere. Don't ever leave your camera around Tom.
That's for sure.
It's still on. Reruns. Are you trying out the Playboy channel, Jeff? One interesting thing I've noticed over the years about Tom is, you know, when we drink, we all have certain characteristics or interesting. Like for instance, Jeff Grant, when he drinks, he cleans things up.
By the way, Jeff, the house is a mess.
Never works at home. Or plays with fire.
Who does that?
Jeff Grant.
Okay, well,
Cooks. He cooks.
it's true. Or most people, when they drink, they just do stupid things. But Tom, when he did a lot of drinking, it seemed like one of the things he did was he became a kleptomaniac. But it started off where we'd go to restaurants, and usually Carla was with us. And usually the silverware and the salt and pepper shakers and all these things would end up in Carla's purse, and we all would blame Carla, but Tom was the culprit behind that. And then it kept carrying on to bigger and bigger things. And then there was another instance where we went out and we were delivering Easter baskets or Easter buckets.
They were cheaper.
That's a whole other story, but we won't get into that. But anyway, Tom and Jeff Grant, we were out delivering our Easter buckets, and we'd come back to the truck that our Easter bucket delivery truck, and there's these neighborhood watch signs inside the truck, which Tom and Jeff Grant had stolen.
It said right on them, we will report any suspicious activities. The sign was suspicious.
I'm sitting on your shoulders with a socket wrench.
That seems pretty suspicious.
Wagon wheels and ashtrays and whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of
does that, huh?
Wagon wheels.
I guess there was also Roger's bachelor party where Tom was the instigator, in which they climbed what did they do? They climbed up on top of a roof and stole a wagon wheel from someplace out in Hot Springs.
2 wagon wheels.
Yeah. I got the second one. And
There was another instance where we were, I guess we were out with the ski club, and we were at some restaurant in Claremont, and there was these little metal tables and chairs out in front of the restaurant, and the next thing I know, Tom's running with this table towards his car, and he's going, Rob, grab this table, grab this table, grab this table. Of course, I was drinking too. Oh yeah, the renters on our House on Terra house.
Yeah, I go, pick up a chair, Jeff, pick up a chair, we go, charge it.
And we load this table and 2 chairs in the back of his Volkswagen Fastback.
We never went back there.
I'm driving with a table leg in my ear.
I don't know, were there any other instances? I guess it, well, that's right.
You continue that story on the bachelor party with Roger and Tom's bachelor party.
Yeah, but we're roasting Tom, not Roger, and his dad.
I think you and I spent an hour talking to cops, saying, please, don't arrest these guys. They follow our bus.
The cops pull us over. We go to the back of the bus.
What a getaway vehicle.
While the cops go to the bus, wagon wheels are going out the back of the bus, over the wall into a dirt field. Finally, the cops have to go search for all these stolen wagon wheels in this dirt field.
Yeah, they're stealing this stuff. This is a real smart getaway car. These cops are like,
it's just a...
In fact, when we moved out of that house, we did that to the people that rented it in the garage.
Is that it? Well, okay, I think those are all great examples of Tom's regard for the law. And I do have a couple things I'd like to kind of clear the record. I've taken kind of a bad rep. In past years, Tom and I at the House and I were responsible for a lot of the culinary preparation.
I heard that. They're edible, all right.
And you know, alternative source of protein for those who don't know.
Scott and I went to the library. We got these cookbooks. I got a regular Chinese cookbook. Scott got one called Entertaining with Insects. I knew I was in real trouble. We went to the pet store and bought mealworms. It's actually beetle larvae. Was it egg foo young with beetle larvae in there?
Yes. Okay, so we don't need to say anything else, but Tom did not stop me. He was there as a apprentice. Now,
you kept whining and crying. Don't tell anyone.
The floor is yours, Tom.
My floor?
If you have anything to say.
Oh, there's more people here.
Kathleen brought up how good he is with kids, and Scott brought up his eating habits. So, my little...
Eating habits?
Well, as you know, Tom lived with us for a while when he started law school. We had 2 little kids, and Kelsey was real new, and she's just starting to eat real people food. We were all excited about introducing her to spaghetti one night. We're sitting there watching Kelsey eat her spaghetti, and all of a sudden it is everywhere, everywhere. Tom sitting back here going...
Kelsey would look at me and I'd go. And she would look at me and I'd go like this. Kelsey would look at me and I'd go. They would look at me and I'd go like this. And Kelsey decided, whoa, what the hell?
Is that...
Does anybody else got anything?
Well, I just know Carla's purse was always much larger when we leave a restaurant, or heavier when we leave a restaurant than when we got there.
Loaves of bread and stuff?
Well, Tom would put salt shakers and beer mugs and ashtrays.
Parmesan
cheese, full Parmesan cheese, right, Carla? And we'd get home and Carla would set her purse down, clunk. And inevitably she would laugh and go, oh, Tom! She never goes at the restaurant, it would always be at home. Oh, Tom!
And if you go over to Carla's apartment now, there's 30 salt shakers.
The floor is yours, Tom.
I have nothing to say. Thanks. Thank you very much. The bug thing, Scott whined and cried a lot. So I never did tell anyone. I apologize for the bugs. I love Dan Crowley's comment though. So the next day we're at breakfast and he goes to Dan. Dan goes to Scott. He goes, you know, Scott, you used to be a friend I don't trust. Now you're just a guy. That's all I can remember now. I do remember Scott Watkins is for, was it passing gas or something like that?
No. We've already gone through this.
We're discussing in the living room one time when we were living together. Scott says that his own gas doesn't smell so offensive. When he's in bed, let's trap something in the quilt.
about males have to have their own space?
Doesn't? How can you stop?
Tom, what about males have to have their own space? No, that's baboons.
Oh, that wasn't my thing.
That was somebody else. Mr. Crowley, Dan Crowley here, I don't, I can't think of anything about Dan Crowley other than driving on the curb. With hitting the Volkswagen, with the Volkswagen, hitting the trash cans with the Volkswagen, going to the liquor store.
I just wanted to give the Watkins a treat. I remember I had all 3 Watkins in the car at one time, and I thought, this is it, my only chance. I'm going to go up the curb and give them a ride.
Dan ran around a corner so fast, all the air went out of 4 tires. He pushed you home. That was quite a treat, Dan. I haven't pushed a car like that in a long time.
The wheels used to fall off Dan's car really regularly. Dan would call Tom up and go, Tom, you need to tow me home. The wheel is falling off of my car.
That's right in front of the administration.
Some gal came up and gave you a hug. Leanne or something?
Some girl came up, oh, this is embarrassing. Right in the crosswalk in front of the administration building, my car's broken down, the wheel is rolling down the road. Hi, Dad, I haven't seen you in years. On my car,
the wheel falls off. Tom's got to go tow him home. Did the wheels ever fall off your Volkswagen?
No. But I had 3 switches to start the engine.
Dan, and then after a while, Dan and I had pretty much a 71, he had a 71 square back, and I had a 71 fastback. And we're going home to Ontario that one time down Riverside Avenue. And there's a guy sitting there, he's got a brand new convertible. You know, no plates on it, just still the sticker from the dealer. And if you have to take Riverside onto Haven really fast, you have to go in the dirt. So we're going in the dirt. So there's 2 cars that look exactly the same. One of them goes through the dirt, boom, this big cloud of dust right into this guy's convertible. He's kind of going like this, and then I go right through there, boom. Remember that guy, Dan? Brand new convertible, full of dirt.
The silly thing was he tried to roll up the window.
It's getting down low. There's 2 cars look just exactly the same. 2 pieces of crap cars. They're right through there. Look the same. I don't want to pick on you, Tom, because you didn't say anything.
Well, I can still pick on you, though, if you like.
Let's do it!
I remember one time when one of our first parties we threw at Spring Hill. And we were just...
That was the first party.
And we were drinking a lot, and the night kind of wore on, and I think Dan Watkins started chumming up with a girl by the name of Gina or something like that. And I remember him...
I'm saving this.
I remember, this is all part of it, though. I remember Dan threatening Jeff Rupp that if he touched that car, he'd break both his arms.
Rupp, you touch that car, I'll break your arms.
But in the meantime, while Dan's arguing with Jeff Rupp, Jeff's trying to fix this girl's car, Tom's saying goodbye to all the guests laying on the ground getting a moon tan.
That was early evening.
That was the beginning of the party.
Oh, that was the beginning of the party.
The thing you have to clarify is we went and got the keg like at 11 o'clock that day. And so the party was like at 8 o'clock at night. But I think we just about finished
By
off
5
the keg.
o'clock I was getting a moon tan, there was no moon.
Laying there in the front lawn saying goodbye and hi to
we had a talent show at our house one time. The first talent show, I was a dog.
Yes, you were.
Tom Crowley was a topless waiter. Yes, no matter what you ordered to drink. If you ordered a beer or a shot of tequila, those were the 2 choices you got. If you ordered a beer, you got a shot of tequila with it, regardless of what you wanted. And if you ordered a shot of tequila, you got a beer with it. And if you ordered the beer and you didn't want the shot of tequila, Tom would drink it for you. With a little toss of salt over his shoulder.
Yeah, that's right.
Tom went to sleep in the bushes that evening. We were out with cars.
That's right.
We were out looking for you, man. We couldn't figure out where the hell you were gone.
I knew where I was.
We were driving around the neighborhood. You guys back wrong, looking for you.
Sleeping in the ivy.
Without a shirt on, a topless waiter.
We had a good time.
That's for sure.
I don't know, I've run out of things to say.
I just remember you sliding down the bar at the House of Nine. Come on, slide down.
Right behind everybody else, Graham.
Yeah, that too. I remember that.
which is really psychology. Means psychology, right? So he's got to do this some sort of experiment. And we're the guinea pigs. Except we all refuse to be in the control room. Refuse. The experiment is the effects of alcohol on your ability to play Pong, TV Pong game. It's a drunk anyways. Jerry doesn't drink. So he's got this experiment all set up. We're going to have a kamikaze. One every 2 minutes or something.
Yeah.
We're playing Pong, see how well we do, and then we're going to have a kamikaze. Pretty soon we're having these water glasses of vodka. I can't play the damn game, I refuse to play it.
But you gotta remember, in order to accelerate the evening, we decided not to have dinner so that the alcohol would have.
We'll have dinner later. I have nothing to throw up.
Me, Tom,
So Dan and I are later, I go to Dan. Want to make Terry really nervous? He started talking about going for a ride. Terry's like, he doesn't know how to people drunk act. We're all over the place, right? He's wondering if we're okay. Let's start talking about going for a ride. Pretty soon Terry's got all of our keys. We're not going anywhere. We know we're not going anywhere.
We thought we were going to drive.
Terry mentioned Terry.
My mom called too.
Mom called.
I didn't make him good.
Yeah, Greg's mom called. His 21st birthday.
Greg, he's here.
If you flash back to that time, it was like 2 hours, and it seemed like 12.
Yeah.
It was the most intense 2 hours I ever had in my life.
We were in bed asleep by 7.
No, every 20 minutes I was up crawling to the bathroom.
Let's see if Dan and Greg can crawl up the stairs backwards like they did that night.
Jerry had a
After they did the monkey rolls on the carpet in the living room, and after everybody passed or threw up and then passed out, a couple of my friends came over that I haven't seen for a couple of years. And we were sitting downstairs after everybody was home safe, they're asleep or dead. I wasn't sure which one. What's that?
Cooking tacos is coming up next.
And so we're sitting down. I told him about the evening, and then Tom comes down the stairs, lying down on his stomach backwards, singing or something. And I had to introduce Tom. Yeah, that's one of my roommates. Tom said, "Oh, you do it." He's lying on his stomach, going backwards, back up the stairs.
Terry decides he's gonna cook some tacos, right? She puts some grease on the stove or some water in a frying pan, turns it up high. It's an electric stove, so it's not hot right away. No heat, right? He's gonna take a shower. Terry takes like a 30-minute shower. When he gets out of the shower, the grease is burning.
It's on fire.
You come home in the evening and it's like all burned and snowballed. What happened? Terry's going.
Paint's all blistered on the side.
Our landlady, she must have loved us.
Roger got a landlord letter after we moved out. The place had holes in the wall. We left all our garbage in there. He got a letter saying
we got our furniture.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, he got a letter saying we paid our rent on time from her. That's balls, Roger. That's balls. Talking to Mrs. Harrison after we moved out. That takes guts.
Yeah, she found your pornographic films. Where are my pornographic films? Mrs. Harrison found them. Did she ever give them back to her? She's still watching them.
How the holes get in the wall?
Rupp, I gotta talk about Rupp. Yeah. Rupp's nickname used to be, and this might be offensive, fucking Rupp. Tom Watkins gave it to him because it's like, you'd look at him and you go, fucking Rupp. He's doing something you can't even believe. You can't even believe this.
No, Tom.
Like, incessantly kicking a soccer ball into a wall. Until the plaster falls off. You're going, Rupp, stop. Just keep kicking it into a wall.
We're stairway to heaven when he's drunk.
What? Yeah, tuning his skis up with an iron and wax. on the living room carpet. It's all going onto the carpet. Mrs. Harris's carpet.
There are already holes in the wall. What's the difference?
And then Stairway to Heaven is Jeff's favorite song.
we got a delineator in the garage.
Do we have a delineator here? You know what a delineator is? It's a solid cone thing. Jeff would use that as a guitar, I think. And play Stairway to Heaven. What?
Guitar microphone.
And we'd play Stairway to Heaven. Like we'd have this party, we'd say, Jeff, we can do Stairway? Oh no, I'm not ready. So everyone would go. The party would be over with, everyone would go to bed. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Ruff would go, I'm ready to sing Stairway. You gotta come downstairs in your underwear and sing Stairway, right? Otherwise he won't leave you alone. We're all standing around our underwear, kind of drunk and sleepy, and he's singing Stairway to Heaven going. He's rolling around on the floor, playing this delineator with his foot to the stuff. I don't know, what else? Rupp has done all kinds of things.
Oh, man.
Kathleen could not believe the stories I would tell about Rupp. I would talk about Rupp, she goes, he seems so calm now.
Barb, stand up. Stand up, Barb. Stand up, Barb.
Thank you,
Rupp is the only guy I know. He's the only guy I know that should have been beaten up. And he's never been beaten up. He used to save his ass all the time, didn't you, Scott?
That was Dan.
The time he came, he said, is Danny around?
We're at a party. This is a party. We're having a party.
Somebody's choking Dan Crowley.
Is Danny around? Yes, Scott, if Danny's around. And Scott goes, well, how come? Well, because somebody's choking Dan Crowley.
No big deal.
Plenty of time. Yeah.
How about playing water polo? Everybody pissed off at me.
Yeah, see that guy's too about it. Although we're not roasting Rupp.
I don't know, Tom Murray, him and Scott shared a room. Scott was pig. Like right down the middle of the room, there's a line. It's an invisible line, but on one side of it, there's like blankets and cups of water. Cups of water. He's gonna have a cup of water before he goes to bed, right? Tom is really neat. The bed is made of everything. He springs out of bed and turns a page over in his calendar. You still do that?
Let's just say he's very efficient.
That's efficient? It's more efficient. You just kick it out of the way. Folding it takes a long time.
Talk about Rupp spinning donuts in the backyard late at night.
That's your fault. Rupp would do anything Tom Murray told him how to do. Murphy. Tom Murray. Rupp would do anything you told him to do. Rupp, go in the backyard and spin donuts and yell, oh, Watkins, wake up!
Out the window while we're trying to spin.
Rupp would do it. Well,
No wonder they graduated college.
That was after we graduated college.
I don't know anything about Ken over here. Ken just finished with Cal Poly. Let's give him a hand. Took him a little while.
8 years.
8 years. That gets your record, doesn't it, Dan? It did! Took him 8 years. When I was working with Ken 3 or 4 years ago, Ken was going, I think I'm going to quit school and be roofer. He's good at it now, but I'm going, Ken, when you're 35, you won't be good at roofing. You're going to carry things now, but you won't be good at it when you're 35. You might as well finish school, then be a roofer. Are you going to be roofing now?
Well, instead of carrying it down, now that I graduate, I'd throw it down.
You learned about graphic.
I think you should say something about Steve and Juanita.
What can you say about that?
Steve used to be like Steve. Now he's like Steve.
Steve never very. He was always telling me my obnoxious quotient was very high or very low. Usually it was up here, right? Steve was very tall, so it's like married Jeff. Jeff used to go bowling. Jeff is always in front of this stuff.
Because he does a lot of weird stuff.
Jeff would go bowling, and bowling starts at 7 o'clock. Jeff would roll in at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, bang around in the kitchen, have an egg burrito. Bowling was like the greatest time in the world. They must have bowled like 15 sets or games. What do you do when you're bowling? You drink heavily, don't you?
Well, we always had to go out afterwards.
Jeff came home from bowling one time. He decided he's going to take a shortcut in Riverside. And so he's going around following the railroad tracks. Now, if I get this story wrong, Jeff, you'll help me out, okay? He's following the railroad tracks turn, and you don't quite make the turn.
There was a turnout.
Okay, turnout. You didn't quite make it, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, and the car, Jeff had a 240Z, orange. And it got stuck on the railroad tracks, right?
Yeah.
Was this 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning.
High-centered.
No. Never drove drunk, did you, Jeff?
No, never.
Okay. Stuck on this thing, high-centered, and he's trying to pile up rocks and get it off or something, right? Is that correct?
Well, I jacked it up.
And tried jacking it up and tried everything, and finally there's a cop over there. Right? This is 2 or 3 hours later after trying
Yeah, I was sober by then.
Goes to this cop, and goes, I have my car stuck in the railroad tracks. And right then you hear this train whistle. And the cop goes, not for long. And Jeff goes, no, it's a spur track or side track or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They pushed you off, right?
Yeah.
Meantime, they asked him where he'd been.
Where was he been?
I told him that I had worked late, and I was on my way home from work. But of course I had been out to this bar.
Boda bowling balls?
I'd been out to the bar, and the guy asked me, "Well, do they stamp their hand like that at work every day?"
When Jeff first met Barbara, he started working at the same place she was at. This is kind of a reprise of my toast, but Jeff invites Barbara to this party, the first party at our house. She's going to come to this party, and he's excited about Barbara coming. By the time Barbara gets there, Jeff doesn't care who she is or knows who she is. He's talking to Jeff. Hey, you know where the Watkins are? There's somebody choking Dan Crowley in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm done. Thanks. Thank you very much.